Welcome back to Leave Me Alone, the Antisocial Podcast. Before we get started, just a quick acknowledgement. This episode is extremely last minute. Not because I was busy or overwhelmed. Not that I was doing anything noble or productive. I've just been gaming. A lot. Like, the podcast should have been recorded days ago gaming. I'll sit down with every intention of recording, open a game for 5 minutes, and then suddenly it's 3 hours later and my attention span has fully dissolved. I have the focus of a goldfish. Not even an impressive one, just a goldfish staring at the side of the tank, forgetting why it swam there. So if this episode feels slightly chaotic, distracted, or like it was put together by someone whose brain keeps alt-tabbing, that's why. Which honestly feels on brand for what we're about to talk about. Let's talk about how doing nothing somehow feels worse than being exhausted. You can be burnt out, overstimulated, emotionally fried, running on vibes and caffeine, but the moment you stop moving, your brain goes, this feels irresponsible. Like rest is a bad financial decision. Suddenly, the thoughts start lining up. I should clean. I should plan my future. I should fix my trajectory. I should become a better version of myself before 6 p.m. And God forbid you sit on the sofa without a clear, respectable reason, because now it's not rest, it's wasted potential. You're not recharging, you're loitering. Somewhere along the line, rest stopped being recovery and started becoming something you have to earn. Like you need to suffer first, or exhaustion is the entry fee. But here we are, tired, sitting, feeling suspicious about it. At some point, productivity stopped being a tool and became more of a moral trait. Busy equals good. Booked equals important. Tired equals impressive. And resting, well, that's questionable. If you say you're tired, no one asks how you're doing. They ask, from what? As if existing isn't enough. As if being alive in this economy, this timeline, this constant noise isn't already a full-time job. We've turned what do you do into a personality trait. We've turned hobbies into side hustles. And we've turned curiosity into content. Everyone's either working on themselves, grinding, building something, or in the growth era. And you're just trying to sit in silence without feeling like a failure who's fallen behind in a race you do not remember entering. You didn't sign up, you don't know the rules, but apparently you're losing. Here's the uncomfortable truth we don't talk about enough. That constant urge to do something, that relentless itch, that feeling like you should always be slightly more productive than you currently are, that's not ambition, that's anxiety in a blazer, holding a clipboard, pretending to be helpful. Because your brain has learned some very clear rules. Busy is safe, still is dangerous, and silence, well, that's where the thoughts live. If you stop, the thoughts get louder. If you slow down, the feelings catch up. If you rest, you might actually notice how you feel. So your brain keeps moving. Not because you need to be, but because it doesn't know how to rest without panicking. This isn't laziness. It isn't lack of discipline. This is a nervous system that's been trained to stay alert at all times. You're not unmotivated, you're just exhausted and hypervigilant at the same time. Which is a horrible combo, by the way. We also need to talk about boredom, or more accurately, the complete extinction of it. There is no in-between anymore, no neutral, no empty space. The second nothing is happening, we panic, we scroll, we refresh, we check apps we don't even like, we open things out of muscle memory, not interest. Not because we're curious, but because silence now feels wrong. Our brains are overstimulated and unrested, addicted to input, terrified of pause. So when everything goes quiet, the withdrawal hits and it feels like doing something, anything, fixes this feeling. Now rest isn't calm, it's itchy, it's uncomfortable. We're not bad at resting, we're just never allowed to be bored long enough to remember how. Here's the part people don't usually say out loud. Mostly because it doesn't sell very well. You don't exist just to be useful. You don't have to explain or justify resting. And you don't need to optimise every quiet moment of your life. You're not behind. You're not wasting time, and you're not failing at life because you sat still for an hour and didn't learn or grow or come out of it with a breakthrough. You're a person, not a productivity app, not a brand, not a project that needs constant updates and improvements. Some days, doing nothing isn't avoidance. It's your nervous system trying to settle. Some days, rest isn't a reward you earn. It's just basic maintenance. And honestly, sometimes sitting there, doing absolutely nothing, is the most emotionally responsible thing you can do. What actually helps without the just relax nonsense. So I'm not going to tell you to just relax, because that advice has never worked for anyone at any point in human history. No one in the middle of an anxiety attack has ever been like, oh my God, just relax. Why didn't I think of that? That's like telling someone who's drowning to just swim better. So instead, here's a few things that actually help me without lying to yourself or pretending your brain isn't a nightmare sometimes. First, schedule rest on purpose. I know, that sounds fake. That sounds like productivity culture sneaking back in through the side door. But hear me out. If rest is planned, your brain shuts up a little, because now it's not doing nothing, it's an activity. It's on the list, it has a time slot, it's official. Unplanned rest feels illegal, like you're going to get caught. Planned rest feels permitted. Second, redefine productivity, because the current definition is unhinged. Resting counts, existing counts, getting through the day without screaming counts. Surviving a loud world quietly, that absolutely counts. You don't need to monetize your hobbies, and you don't need to turn every interest into a skill. You don't need to come out of your free time with a result. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is not make things worse. And third, notice the urge to do more without obeying it, because that voice is loud and confident and deeply unqualified. That I should be doing something for is not a command, it's just a suggestion, and not even a good one. You can hear it go, interesting opinion, and then continue lying there. You don't have to respond to every thought like it's an email marked urgent. Some of them are just spam. Fourth, practice doing nothing in small doses. I'm not saying start with an hour of silence. That's aggressive. Start with 5 minutes. Or 10, if you're feeling brave. Let your brain panic a little. Let it go, hey, hello. Why aren't we doing something? And then show it that nothing bad's going to happen. You're still safe, the world doesn't end, you don't immediately become a failure, you're just sitting. Your brain forgot how to do that, you're teaching it again. And most importantly, stop treating rest like it's a prize. You don't need to earn it through burnout, you don't need to collapse first, you don't need a near-death experience or a dramatic emotional breakdown to justify lying down. Rest is not a reward, it's not a dessert, it's not something you only get after suffering enough. It's maintenance, like charging your phone before it dies, instead of waiting for it to shut off and panic, which, to be fair, is exactly how most of us treat ourselves. If this episode made you feel seen, gently called out, or mildly uncomfortable, good, same. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're just tired in a world that will not shut up. Thanks for listening to Leave Me Alone, the Antisocial Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, follow, subscribe, or don't, no pressure. Actually, scrap that, a little pressure, just enough to feel productive. I'll talk to you next time, or not. We'll see how social I'm feeling.